It had been so hard not to defend myself, to let people who hate me control the narrative. I decided to take my power back. It's like being punched in the gut. My heart drops to my stomach when I realize he, the president, has tweeted about me again. The president of the United States is calling me names to the entire world. He's demeaning me and my career. It is sickening. So what do you make of the fact that she is telling her story finally the week before the IG report comes out?
Yeah, Lisa Page is done being quiet. Well, we were done being quiet a long time ago, too. She feels bad that the president is calling her names. Is she serious? She was the lead FBI lawyer on the biggest political spying scandal in human history, who has already said on the record, Lisa Page, in her own words in a congressional hearing, that when Bob Mueller was appointed, think about this, put this in perspective, guys and ladies, put this in perspective. Bob Mueller was appointed after a year of investigating the president and his team. And she says under oath, hey, at that point, it could have been literally nothing. So you moved from an initial inquiry to a preliminary inquiry into a full investigation into the president and his team, and you're appointing Bob Mueller after a year of investigating, and you acknowledge in front of a committee as the lead FBI lawyer on this case that you could have had, quote, literally nothing, and you're upset that the president hurt your delicate sensibilities by calling you a name?
Right.
I mean, is this serious? Do you understand the panic these deep staters are in about this IG report right now? That's why they're coming out and doing these stories.
Well, it's kind of interesting because the one area I thought that you were going to focus on is when she came out and talked about how this whole thing launched. There was no spying, she said. There were two things that happened in the late summer of 2016. The first, of course, is the FBI gets the predication, courtesy of loose lip George Papadopoulos, which starts the Russia investigation. We learned about the possibility that there's someone on the Trump campaign coordinating with Russia. George Papadopoulos, an unpaid advisor who's met the president once, somehow meets by chance with a professor that we can't find anymore, Joseph Mifsud, and then he meets by chance with Ambassador Downer, and that launches this?
Okay, let's debunk these two things right away. This New York Times story, which addresses these 2 points, which is supposed to be some kind of effort to gaslight everyone and make you believe what happened didn't happen, actually says it happened. The New York Times story, if you read it, which most people didn't, they just read the headline, which is a Pravda-like propaganda effort, says no evidence of spying. It then goes on, if you read the story later on, to say how the FBI spied and put spies in the campaign. Now, it uses euphemisms in the euphemism game to call spies like, all kinds of fancy names like FBI employees, FBI informers. Guys, there's informers, there's spies in the common use of the language, and the New York Times story confirms it. As for Mifsud, if this whole case started with Mifsud, this professor, who was allegedly a Russian agent, and the best you can do in the New York Times story is show that Papadopoulos wasn't colluding with a Russian agent, but at least he wasn't an FBI-specific informant. If this is your best face forward, you're in a world of trouble. And one more thing in that story that people missed. Again, this is the best face the New York Times has. They acknowledged they didn't vet Steele appropriately, and they interviewed his sources in January of 2017, and still went on to renew the FISA 3 times, despite acknowledging his sources were garbage. Keep in mind, this is their best version of events, the New York Times. That's why Lisa Page is panicking.
She also says she doesn't think her texts are too political.
Right, after she said insurance policy.
Read them yourself.
I know.
Listen, folks, disregard that completely. Read the text yourself about smelling the Walmart support for Trump, and you tell me if they're political with a straight face or not.
All right, Dan Bongino joining us from down in Florida. You're done now. You can go out on your deck and luxuriate in 80-degree weather.
Yeah, you know I will, too. I got a cup
I know
of
you
coffee
will.
with me. I'm taking it with me. Yeah. We just got
You
new coffee
deserve
cups,
it.
too.
You deserve it. You worked hard.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks,
Worked.
See you all later.
You're working, yeah. Still working hard. Okay, Carly is filling in for Jillian this morning. I watched you this morning. Excellent job. And now you've got some headlines for us.
Ainsley, thank you so much. Yeah.